Hello and welcome back to English Today. This is DVD 13 and the first DVD of your upper intermediate level. And in this DVD, we'll begin with another 3 episodes of our story, That's Life, followed by our special TV programs, which include Everything But the Kitchen Sink, featuring our culinary experts. And then there will be a discussion about India and China. Do they represent a threat or an opportunity? Then, in the grammar section, we'll be studying more about the present perfect and the present perfect continuous tenses. And then we'll learn about the gerund and the infinitive. And we'll also study the first conditional. All right? So, I hope you enjoy yourselves.
Sharon, I called a real estate agent 5 minutes ago. He deals with apartments in Japan. He said he'd send an email with some photos. That way we can choose which apartment we like the best.
Don't rush me, Peter. You know I haven't decided.
I know. We've talked about this a lot. But doesn't the idea of leaving appeal to you? I mean, just think of it. A new country, a new life together, new experiences. Now, I'm really enthusiastic about this opportunity. It's not every day you have a chance like this.
Well, I've wanted to make changes in my life for a long time. But these changes seem so, well, so overwhelming. There, I said it. I've never been to Asia, and I'm frightened of going there to live.
But I told you that Alice has been there. She went to Japan in 1995. She says it's a fascinating country. It's antique and modern at the same time. It's full of interesting traditions and new innovations.
I know. I've read a number of books. Last night, I finished reading Japan in the 21st Century. I admit, I'm curious about it all.
You see, just remember, you were afraid when we came to London, but you've adjusted well. We've been here a year and a half, and you haven't once complained. I take that back. You complained once last week.
Come on, Peter, stop joking around. You're right, I've made great friends. That's why I'm so hesitant to go.
I know. I'm also sad at the idea of leaving everyone. But... Hey, Jack. How long have you been in here?
A couple of minutes. Excuse me, I didn't mean to spy. But you were so involved in your discussion.
So you've heard that she still hasn't decided, even if she's going to decide soon. In fact, we were just talking about which apartment to choose.
Well, don't rush it, Peter. Decisions about major changes take time.
So whose side are you on? I need to get going. I took my watch to be repaired 2 weeks ago, and I still haven't picked it up. Sooner or later, they're going to put it up for sale. Bye. Jack, I'm leaving her in your hands. Please try and convince her.
Hello again and welcome back to English Today, your live TV program where you can learn the English language. That last episode, I'm sure Jack can manage to convince Sharon to go to Japan. What do you think? We will see how that evolves. Now let's go back to the present perfect. Remember that we have learned so far that we use the present perfect with genie, just, ever, already, never, and yet. Well, I want to give you 2 more acronyms to help you understand when you use the present perfect. And the first one is this: flot. Now, you see at the top we have 4. 4 is a time word. And we use for a length of time. What's length? Length means a duration of time. So if you want to say 10 years, for example, you would say, I have lived in France for 10 years. For 10 years, a duration of time. Or, for example, 5 minutes. I have worked here for 5 minutes. Okay, so for we use for a length or a duration of time. That's flot. F-L-O-T, flot. Now, let's look at the second one, spot. Now, spot starts with the word since. Since is a word that we use when we're talking about an exact point of time. So, let me give you an example. If I say 5 o'clock, that is an exact point of time. So, you could say, I have been here since 5 o'clock. Or for a year, you can say 1973, since 1973. So these two words are very important, for and since. Flot, spot. For a length of time, and since for a point of time. Now let's do a little exercise to help you with that. I will say something like 2 days. You must decide whether to use for or whether to use since. Okay? So, 2 days. Is it a length of time or a point in time? Length. So, for 2 days. I have been here for 2 days. Another example. Thursday. Thursday's a point of time, so since Thursday. Great. For a long time. A long time. Exactly, that is a duration, it's a length, so it's for. I gave you the answer. Another one. December. Good, it's a point, so since December. Very good. This one. Weeks. Very good. 4 weeks. Okay, fine. Let's think of another one. 2001. Okay, that's a point of time, so since 2001. Those are some examples. Let's go to the screen now, and I'll show them to you in a written form. That way you can memorize them and fix them, okay? So, flot and spot. There we have it. For a length of time, flot. So this is to express duration. The examples, I've lived here for 10 years. Then, he's known her for ages. Now, for ages means for a long time, okay? Then we had spot, which is since, and we use it for a point of time. The examples, she's worked there since the 7th of June. Point of time, that's a date. And they've been here since 1978, a year. Okay, so flot and spot. Now, the interesting thing is that when we ask questions about that, we use the word how long. For example, how long have you been here? And we use the present perfect. Look at the screen. We say, how long have you lived in Cambridge? And the answer would be, I've lived in Cambridge for 10 years or since 2001. You see? Now, remember that how long is different to how many times. How many times is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. How long is a period of time? Okay? Another example. How long has he worked there? Answers. He's worked there for 10 years, or he's worked there since 1973. All right? Now, just look at the examples we practiced. We have for 2 days, for ages, 4 weeks, for a long time, duration, then since Friday, since 5 o'clock, since 2001, since I was young, and since December. Great. Okay, so there we have it. We have genie, just, ever, already, never, yet. We have flot and spot, which is for and since. This is when we use the present perfect. Great. Now, let's go back and see if Jack has managed to convince Sharon to go to Japan. Okay? Bye.
You can't leave. Now that we finally found each other.
Stop it, Jack. I'm so confused. Don't you start.
I was thinking, you'll be all alone in a foreign country. You won't know anyone. Peter will be at rehearsals all day. At least here you have us. I will always be here for you.
Yes, I know that.
Oh, and did you know that women can't go out alone in Japan?
Jack, that only happens in the Middle East. Stop it now. The truth is, I love new experiences. Remember when I moved to London 2 years ago? I've loved every minute of it.
But that's not what you told Peter.
I said it on purpose. You know I want him to slow down.
I heard what you said 5 minutes ago. You were sincere. You weren't joking.
You misunderstood, Jack. I'm not afraid of leaving. I've lived in a lot of different places in my life. I've done a lot of things. I've worked as a babysitter, as a tour guide, as a waitress. I'm sure I'll find something in Japan.
I know you all too well, Sharon. You haven't ever really enjoyed any of those jobs. You still haven't found what you want to do in life.
Stop it, Jack. I'm glad you promised Peter to convince me to go.
I didn't promise him anything. So, what have you decided? Are you going to move?
I don't know. I think I will. Yes. I'm going to move.
If you've already decided, why did you have a job interview yesterday afternoon?
Who told you that? Anne?
No. I haven't spoken to her for days.
So how did you find out?
It doesn't matter. So, you still haven't answered my question.
I don't have to answer to you, Jack.
Okay. I see you're angry. It just proves that I'm right.
Jack, sometimes you are so impossible. Have you ever considered that maybe it's the best thing for me?
And what about you, Sharon? Have you ever thought that you might be in love with somebody else? Listen, I refuse to give up.
Love is difficult, isn't it? I know something about that. But so is the simple past and the present perfect. And in fact, this is an important lesson because one of the most difficult things in the English language is to decide when to use the simple past and when to use the present perfect. I hear a lot of people making mistakes about this. When do we say, I went? And when do we say, I have gone? Well, remember, up until now, I've tried to help you with these acronyms, you remember? Oilway and Genie. And I really do think they'll help you. Now, do you remember, Oilway was for the simple past. We use the simple past with on, in, last, when, ago, and yesterday. Okay? And we use the present perfect with just, ever, already, never, and yet. Be careful, There are two A's. This is already, this is ago. Okay, so be careful there. So when you are speaking English, you have to make these choices. What do I use? Simple past or present perfect? And it depends on what time reference or time word you are using in the sentence. That is the most important thing, okay? Which one of these acronyms? Let me give you an example. We'll take a simple verb like I go. Now, if you want to use already in the sentence, what do we use? Do we use present perfect or simple past? Already is part of genie, just, ever, already, never, yet. So you need the present perfect. And you say, I have already gone. Now, if you want to use last week, where is it? L, last, simple past. So you say, I went last week. Now, you try. I want to use just. Which one? Genie, just. So we say, I have just gone. Present perfect. Okay, next one. I want to use yet. Now be careful, there are two Y's. This one is yet, this one is yesterday. Be careful. So, yet is negative, do you remember? It's present perfect, and the yet is at the end of the sentence. So, I haven't gone yet. All right? That's more difficult. Yet, so that's an exception. Next one. When? When? Okay, simple past. For a question, very often, when did you go? Next one. Never. Right? I have never gone. Present perfect. Fabulous. 2 days ago. Now this is already, and that is ago. So, I went 2 days ago. Great, you're getting the hang of it. On. Yes, so I went on Friday, for example. Yesterday. I went yesterday. And the last one, in. Yeah, good. I went in June or in September. Fantastic. So that's it. Okay? When you are deciding whether to use the simple past or present perfect, think of the time words. And let's look at that on the screen just to remind you once more, because this is difficult. So, oil way is for specified time. On, in, last, when, ago, yesterday. I saw him on Friday. We went there in 1988. She came last week. When did you visit them? Question form. I visited them 2 weeks ago. I saw him yesterday. On, in, last, when, ago, yesterday. Then genie for unspecified time, indefinite time, just, ever, already, never, yet. Examples, I have just seen him. Have you ever been to America? They've already eaten. He's never learnt. And have you met them yet? Okay, yet at the end. So please try and memorize these. Oil way, genie, and think about it when you have to decide between simple past and present perfect. All right? Good luck. And I'll see you again soon. Bye.
Okay. Sharon, you remembered to buy the beer, right?
Of course I did.
And you managed to bake the cake, right?
Not yet. I'm going to bake it this afternoon. I still need to get some chocolate. Actually, Jack offered to get some for me. He promised to bring some before lunch.
Sorry, but I can't help you with the cake. I have to take some tourists to visit the Tate Gallery.
Oh, don't worry about it. I'll have Jack to help me. He decided to stay home today to give me a hand. Just don't forget to tell Tom, David, Mary, and all the others.
Don't worry, Peter said he'd take care of it. I'm sure he's already got in touch with everybody by phone.
Great. Everything is going as planned. Oh, don't forget to buy the present.
Don't worry. How about getting an astrology book? She'd love that.
Absolutely. She loves reading those kinds of books.
I hope I can get it before I go to work. By the way, have you heard anything from Mr. Dubois?
Well, he told me he expected to come, but couldn't confirm. Well, you know how it is being so busy and everything. It's hard for him to give a definite answer one way or the other.
I imagine being a stage director is difficult. Alice would be so happy if he comes.
Yes, she will. Anyway, mum's the word. If you say anything, it won't be a surprise.
Hey everyone, what are you up to?
Oh, nothing important. Oh, I almost forgot. Happy birthday, Alice. So, what have you arranged to do this evening?
Well, I considered celebrating with you guys. I mean, if you want to.
Oh, I'm really sorry, but, well, Jack has arranged to eat out this evening with his colleagues, and he can't put it off now. And, well, I agreed to correct some reports.
Oh, I see. What about you, Sharon?
Oh, I'm terribly sorry, but I agreed to go to the theatre with Peter, and he won't be finished rehearsing before midnight.
But I thought...
Well, I know we promised to have a party, but why don't we postpone it? It's just not possible today.
What a shame. I can't stand the thought of being all alone on my birthday.
Hello again. She really believed them, didn't she? Great actors. Now, in this lesson, I want to do something new, and it's related to gerunds and infinitives. In that last episode, our friends used some quite complicated sentences, which I want to look at with you now. Anne said, Jack offered to get some cake. Do you notice that there are two verbs together there? Jack offered to get some cake. Now, offered here is followed by an infinitive. That's one example. The next example is, she said, he promised to bring some before lunchtime. He promised to bring some. Promised is followed by an infinitive, promised to bring. Then Anne says, she loves reading. Loves reading. Now, love is followed by a gerund. Then Sharon says, yes, I imagine being a stage director is difficult. I imagine being. Gerund. So here we have offer, which is followed by an infinitive, promise, followed by an infinitive, love, followed by a gerund, and imagine, followed by a gerund. And you're probably thinking, so how do I learn these? Well, you have to learn them by heart, as we say. Yeah, there's no other choice. So let's go to the board now, and I will show you how it works. And unfortunately, like the simple past irregular verbs, it's all a question of memory. So, as we said, when you have a main verb followed by another verb, sometimes it's in the infinitive, sometimes in the gerund. Let's look at some examples. You managed to bake a cake. The verb manage is followed by an infinitive. Jack offered to get some. He promised to bring some. I have to take some tourists. Have to in the sense of obligation. What have you arranged to do? Arranged plus infinitive. I agreed to correct some reports. So there you see manage, offer, promise, have, arrange and agree are followed by the infinitive with to. Let's move on to the other examples where verbs are followed by the gerund. She loves reading. So love followed by reading. Gerund. I imagine being a director is difficult. Imagine followed by gerund. I considered celebrating. Considered followed by gerund. Celebrating with you guys, and he won't finish rehearsing before midnight. So there we have examples of love, imagine, consider, finish, followed by the gerund forms. So it's a bit complicated, and it's a question of familiarizing yourselves with the verbs that take gerund and the verbs which take infinitive. It comes with practice, don't worry. But this is just an introduction. So, let's go back and see what's going on in Alice's birthday party, all right? And I'll see you later. Bye.
Hey, is anybody home? Oh. That's right, I forgot. Everyone's busy this evening. What a shame. I resent having to spend my birthday all alone. Hey, what's happening here?
Surprise! Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Alice. Happy birthday to you.
Oh, I'm so happy. I didn't expect to find anybody here. I thought I had to spend my birthday all by myself.
Oh, did you really think we would forget to celebrate your birthday?
Well, yes. You played quite a trick on me.
And you fell for it. Come on, everyone. A toast to Alice.
Oh, wait. Before we make a toast, we have another surprise. Another surprise! Daddy!
This is such a great birthday. How did they talk you into coming?
Alice, dear, how could I miss your birthday? Work is important, sure, but nothing is more important than my dear, sweet, only, lovable, adorable little girl.
Dad, if you talk like that, you'll make me blush in front of everybody.
Listen, I know I wasn't always there for you and that I've made a lot of mistakes, but I want to catch up. Things change. I've got a suggestion for you. Do you want to come and work with me?
Really? With you? What would I do?
You can write scenes for my films. You've always had artistic flair. I'll teach you the tricks of the trade. You'll learn how to write convincing scenes in no time at all. That way, we'll always be together, if you want.
I don't know what to say. I gave up wanting to spend time with you.
You don't have to decide to do anything now. Let's celebrate your birthday. Let's toast. Cheers, Alice.
Thank you so much, Daddy. This is the best birthday of my entire life.
Happy birthday, Alice. Did you hear what her father said? He said, if you work with me, I'll teach you the tricks. Now that's an opportunity, not only for Alice, but also for us, because he used a grammatical form that I want to teach you now. If you work with me, I'll teach you the tricks. And that in English is a conditional form, the first conditional. If I work, if plus the simple present, I will teach, followed by the future will. So to illustrate this a little bit better, I want to talk to you about what is almost a religion in England, making tea. Now, every household in England has one of these, this. Do you know what this is called? It's for water, to heat, to boil water. In English, we call it a kettle. Every English household has a kettle. We have all sorts of different models as well. And I can assure you, if you buy a kettle, you will never regret it. Why? Look at this. It's very light, plastic, and it's very fast. So, if you fill this kettle to about here, it's 1.5 liters. And then, here's the plug, if you plug the kettle in, the water, 1.5 liters, will boil in 3 minutes. Incredible. So, 1.5 liters, if you boil 1.5 liters, then it will be ready in 3 minutes, okay? The other good thing is that if you want to carry the water to another place, look, take it off the element, and it's portable. Now, there's one thing to remember inside. Sometimes it gets a bit dirty. You have a special liquid to clean it. Because if you don't clean it, then it'll change the taste, or it might change the taste of the tea. Okay, so that's important. So, a kettle. If you buy this, I can assure you, you will never regret it. Okay, now, I was using some conditional sentences there, and I want to go to the screen now to look at those more carefully. It was the first conditional, using if, all right? And this is used to describe real possibilities. So, look at this. If you work with me, this is Alice's father, I'll teach you all the tricks. So we have if, then the present tense, and then will and the infinitive, which is probably different to your own language, so be careful about that. The other example, if you use a kettle, you'll make tea faster. So present tense, future with will. If you use a kettle, you'll make tea faster. If you don't clean it, the tea won't taste good. You see the negatives there? If we don't, negative of the present, the tea won't, negative of will, taste good. Now, we can sometimes change the second part. Look at the next example. If her father offers her a job, she might accept it. Now, using might gives the idea of uncertainty, but that's fine to use in the first conditional. The other example, if he accepts the job, yeah? If he accepts the job, he might move, go to Japan. All right, so you can also use might. If you stay with me in English today, you will learn the English language. All right? Great. Well, I'll see you again in the next lesson. Bye.
Hi, Jack. Is Anne home?
No, she hasn't arrived yet. I've been waiting for her for over an hour. I think she's been shopping. What's the matter? You don't look too well.
Nothing, really.
Don't lie to me. I've known you for 10 years.
Listen, Jack, I really don't want to speak about it, okay?
No, it's not okay. We have to speak about the situation and clear the air once and for all. I've been thinking about us a lot. I've been thinking about us so much, I haven't slept well in nights.
What have you been thinking, Jack?
About us. You're leaving for Japan. I've told you before, and I'll tell you again, Sharon, it's crazy. You can't leave now when we know how we feel.
Jack, you're repeating yourself.
That's right. And I'll continue repeating myself until you accept the truth. We're made for each other.
Stop it. You're embarrassing me.
Sharon, listen. I haven't stopped loving you. And I know you feel the same about me.
That's it. I said stop it and I meant it. Look, you've made me cry. And then how do our feelings change anything?
How do they change anything? They change everything. You must tell Peter immediately about everything. Tell him you won't go. I'm so happy. I knew you felt the same way about me.
Hey, is anyone in there?
Oh my God, it's Peter. He can't see me like this.
Stay calm. Maybe it's time we tell him everything.
Is anybody in there? Hello?
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to some more English today. It's the moment of truth for Sharon, isn't it? Now, in that episode, they used some very interesting language, and language which is a grammatical form very typical to English. It's a form you don't find in many other languages. Let me give you some examples. Jack said, "I've been waiting for her for over an hour. I've been waiting for her." She's been shopping. She's been shopping. And Jack also said, "I've been thinking a lot about us," remember? She said, "What have you been thinking, Jack?" Now that's the form that I want to look at with you now, because, as I said, it's very unusual and particular to the English language. So, London Bridge, the Tower Bridge. Now that's a useful image because, in fact, this grammatical form is about bridging two different forms. It's about bridging the present perfect has been or have been with the present continuous form. For example, I am working. Now, you put those together, mix them all up. Ding, bingo, you get the present perfect continuous. You see, the taxi joins the two together. That's great. I'll give you an example. I have been teaching for years. Now, what does that mean? It means that I started it in the past, this action, and I am still continuing it now. So I started in the past, have been, and I'm continuing now the continuous. I have been teaching English for years. Okay, let me give you another example. Yoga. I started yoga 5 years ago. I'm still doing yoga now, so I say, I have been doing yoga for many years. I have been doing yoga for many years. Okay, so that is this interesting mixture of present perfect and the present continuous. Okay? So, I think in order to understand it a little better, we should go to the screen so that you can see it in the written form. I remind you, it's a tense that you find in particular in the English language, not in other languages. So, here we have it. Sharon has been working as a tour guide for many months. So, an action starting in the past, continuing now. He's been working here for 5 years. He's been stands for he has been working here. They've been playing tennis since May. Okay? That's the positive form. Now, the negative form, Peter hasn't been paying attention to Sharon for a number of weeks. That's the negative. That's true. The question form is, how long have you been doing your homework this morning? Have you been doing inversion? How long has she been teaching? We use how long very often because we want to find out the duration, when the action started and the action is continuing now. So what period of time? How long have I been teaching? Then the answer would be, I've been teaching for many years. I could ask you, how long have you been learning English? You can say, well, I've been learning English for years, or whatever the answer is. So that's the present perfect continuous, PPC. And don't worry, this is not the only lesson about it. It's not easy, and I will tell you other things about it in another lesson, the next lesson. All right? So see you then. Bye.
Jack? Sharon? What are you doing here? I've been looking for you for half an hour. Hey, what's the matter? You've been crying. Are you going to explain to me what's going on or not?
Peter, listen, calm down.
I'm not going to calm down. I want answers, and I want them now.
What's going on here?
That's what I'd like to know. Jack and Sharon have been here for who knows how long, and who knows what they've been doing. Hey, Jack, it's time you tell me what's up. I'm going to get really mad if I don't get some answers.
Okay, stop. Stop! You're acting like little children. Come on, Jack. Let's leave Peter and Sharon alone. They need to talk, and we need to go shopping.
So, Sharon? What's going on?
Peter, I have to tell you something I've never told you before. I've known Jack for a long time. We went to the same university together, and, well, we were once engaged.
What? So that's why Jack came to live here. You've been seeing each other, haven't you, Sharon?
No, Peter, I swear, it's true. We just happened to meet here. It happened by chance.
By chance? That's a strange stroke of luck. Just enough to bring back some old passionate feelings? How long has this been going on, Sharon?
Nothing has happened between Jack and I. Even if I do still have some feelings for him. After all, Peter, you've been neglecting me for months. The only thing that's important to you is your work. You live, eat, and drink theater and nothing else.
So you're saying this is my fault?
No one is at fault. It's just that we want different things from life at the moment. I've had 2 interviews with the director of the Archaeology Museum. They want to open an art exhibition, and they've offered me a job. Do you understand, Peter? It means a job I would really love.
What are you getting at, Sharon?
Would you stay here and not go to Japan if I asked you?
What kind of question is that?
Answer me, Peter. It's important. I've accepted the job.
Without asking me. How could you?
And did you ask me about Japan? Did you, Peter, huh? Are you willing to stay here with me?
I can't, Sharon. This is my big chance.
You see, Peter, I'm right. Nothing is more important to you than your success.
So this is our moment of truth. The question is, when do we use the present perfect and when do we use the present perfect continuous? Many people ask me this. They say, Louise, but when do we use the present perfect? I have gone, I have seen, I have done. And when do we use the present perfect continuous? I have been working, I have been learning. Often people confuse the use. And you're right, it's not easy at all. So I'd like to try and help clarify that by these simple things, a revision of what we've already seen. Now, with the present perfect, we use genie. Remember? Just, ever, already, never, and yet. That's important to remember. With those words, we use the present perfect. But with the present perfect continuous, we're using for, since, and how long. Okay, now that is the difference. So if I take a phrase like, I do the exercise, and I want to use the time word already, then you need the present perfect. I have already done the exercise. But if you want to use the concept of since, you can't use the present perfect, you use the present perfect continuous. So, I have been doing the exercise since Friday. Another example would be, for example, just. Just is a present perfect word, so we say, I have just done the exercise. If you want to use for, we're into the present perfect continuous, the PPC. So, I have been learning English for many years. So, do you see the mechanism? You have to think about what time words you want to use in the sentence. Then you choose the correct grammatical form. Genie for the present perfect. For, since, how long? How long have you been learning English for the present perfect continuous? That way you can distinguish between the two forms, all right? So try and memorize those time words, and I can assure you it will help you a lot when you're speaking. All right? Great. Well, see you again in the next lesson. Bye.
Welcome to Cooking Today. We're delighted to be back in Lisa French's home again. Lisa, we've had so many calls since our last program.
I'm glad to hear it.
Well, now let's see. Here, Sally from Manchester is getting married in June and has always dreamt of having a well-equipped modern kitchen just like the ones in the movies. How can we help her?
Well, to begin with, a kitchen environment should be well lit and have ample surfaces to work on. Also, plenty of drawer space is necessary for storage of food items and utensils.
I know what you mean. I have to contend with a small kitchen that has neither light nor enough drawer space. That's why I go out to restaurants.
You don't need a king-size kitchen to enjoy cooking in it. What's important is organisation and having things at hand.
What are the main appliances newlyweds should have?
Well, obviously, a hob, an oven, and a fridge are absolutely essential. Today, many people can't survive without a dishwasher.
I'm one of those people. I really hate doing dishes.
So do I. Getting back to the subject, I'd like to show our viewers some optional appliances. Although they're not strictly necessary, they often come in handy in large families or when entertaining guests frequently. One is the grill. Another is a deep fryer for large quantities of chips and other tidbits.
That's not the appliance for me. I love healthy cooking.
In that case, you need a steamer oven like this one. In the US, it's hard to find a kitchen without a microwave. Microwaves are quite useful, especially for busy people. Other appliances, which are also common in the US, are water and ice dispensers, like this one.
Well, everybody seems to have a food processor these days. Why is a food processor so useful?
Well, a food processor is a great boon since it's a real space and time saver. It has many different functions. It can mince meat, grate cheese and vegetables, make breadcrumbs, pulp tomatoes, fruit, and so on.
So what else can you show us?
An electric beater like this can be used for whisking eggs, as well as making mayonnaise. Other kitchen aids are scales and measuring utensils. Careful weighing and measuring are fundamental for successful cooking, since recipes are generally in kilos and grams.
All right. There are a lot of other things that we could talk about, but unfortunately our time is up. Lisa, once again, it's been great being here. Thank you for your help.
You're welcome.
Well, let's analyze some of the vocabulary used by Lisa. Talking about the appliances for cooking, she spoke about a hob, or U.S. stove, where you cook food, an oven, where you roast or bake food, a grill, where food is cooked by strong direct heat. As we saw, the following machines can be optional: a deep fryer in which you fry food, a steamer oven where you can cook food in steam rather than water, a microwave where food is cooked by electromagnetic radiation. Then she referred to items where food can be stored, like a fridge, originally refrigerator. The section with frozen food is called a freezer. The section of the fridge which produces cold water and ice is called a water or ice dispenser. Lisa also said drawers are important. You need them to keep utensils, cutlery, and so on. A dishwasher is a machine for washing dishes, cutlery, glasses, and so on. Other small appliances are a food processor, a machine which can ground, mince, or chop food. An electric beater, where you mix, whip, or whisk food. Scales or measuring utensils used for measuring food, weight, or liquids. Then Lisa used some culinary terms, such as mince, that is chopping meat into very small pieces. Notice that mincemeat is a mixture of dried fruit. Cheese and carrots can be grated, that is, finely shredded. Or we can say pulp, which means crushing fruit into a soft paste. Pulp is also the soft inner part of fruit. Another useful verb is beat. That is mixing eggs, cream, butter, using a fork or a whisk. That's enough for today. See you again. Bye.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Let's Talk, the evening discussion show with our two commentators, Tom and Marie.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Well, let's talk business tonight. Let's talk about some important developments in the global economy. Let's talk about new markets and new commercial opportunities. In particular, I'd like to know what you think about the extraordinary economic growth that's taking place at the moment in some parts of the world.
Are you referring to China?
Yes, and also to India. You know, for the last 5 years, the economies of these countries have been growing at almost double-digit rates. In 2005, the Chinese economy grew by 9.9%, the Indian economy by 8%. Compare this with an average of only 1.3% in Europe's Eurozone. How do you see these developments? Is this enormous economic growth an opportunity or a threat for European producers?
Well, I'm rather concerned about it, and I believe that many European industrialists are concerned too. These two Asian giants with their enormous populations are threatening European manufacturing and jobs. The fact is that labor costs are so low in China and India that European manufacturers just can't compete.
Sorry, Tom, but I really don't agree with you. I don't see these growing economies as a threat to European producers. I believe that China and India offer new, important markets to European manufacturers. You know, both countries have middle classes that are becoming larger and larger. These people are becoming wealthier and are looking to spend their money on luxury goods made in Europe.
So, Maria, according to you, European companies can sell their high-quality goods to middle-class Indians and Chinese.
Exactly. In this way, European exports to China and India are predicted to increase.
Just a second, Marie. The reality of the situation is rather different. India and China are selling much more to Europe than Europe is selling to them.
I accept that's true at the moment. But don't forget, Tom, that cheap Chinese goods have helped to keep inflation low in European countries. And this has helped keep interest rates low too. So, consumers have been able to save money and spend this money on other things.
Well, I agree with you that European consumers and industrialists have benefited from trade with China.
Of course. What's more, today, more and more European companies are building factories in China or are having their goods produced there.
Exactly. That's the problem, Marie. European industrialists are deciding to have their goods produced in these countries because labour costs are lower. If we continue like this, lots of factories in Europe will close and the number of unemployed will rise.
Well, I can certainly see that you have different opinions on these issues. I think you're both right. Like most things in life, economic growth in China and India has its good and bad points. It can either offer commercial opportunities to some European producers, but it can also pose a threat to other sectors of European manufacturing. Okay, let's say goodbye to Tom and Marie.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Goodbye to everyone, and see you again for another appointment of Let's Talk. So, we've just spoken about developments in the global economy. The global economy is the economic system of the world. An important development is the economic growth in China and India. Economic growth is the development of an economy. The Indian economy grows by 8%. Notice the use of by. The Chinese economy grew by 9.9%. Here, notice also how we say 9.9. Is this economic growth threatening to European producers? A threat is a danger, and the verb to threaten means to put in danger. One opinion is that the economic growth of India and China is threatening European producers. Producers are companies that make products. Another word for producer is manufacturer. Why is it a threat? Because there are low labor costs in India and China. Labor costs are how much a company pays its workers to produce something. The number of unemployed will increase in Europe. This is the number of people without a job. We say someone is unemployed when they don't have a job. Another opinion is that it isn't a threat. Actually, it's creating new commercial opportunities for European manufacturers. New commercial opportunities are new markets for products or the chance to sell more to existing markets. Just quickly, before we run out of time, there are a few useful expressions for discussions I'd like to look at. A polite way of asking someone's opinion is, I'd like to know what you think about. When you strongly disagree with someone, you can say, sorry, but I really don't agree with you, or just a second. But if, on the other hand, you agree, you can say, I accept that's true, or I agree with that. Well, that's all the time we have for this time. See you soon.